Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. And big welcome to Case Flower School. And I'm Jeanette, just for anybody that doesn't know. And we have Deirdre behind camera and box. Now, we are out of these hat boxes at the moment, but they are coming in, I think, Monday or Tuesday next week. So if you want to order them, you'll be able to order them next week, okay? So they come flat packed, but you've seen me use lots of different hat boxes. And I know Charlie has some gorgeous hat boxes because I've seen them on his website. So listen, Charlie, post a few photographs, and then if anybody wants to get Charlie's hat box instead, it will be done slightly different. I don't have any of his hat boxes, hint, but if I had, I'd be able to demonstrate it. But this one comes flat packed, and the numbers are on it like 1, 2, 1. Where we go?
The big one first.
Big one goes first. Not even thinking. I'm looking for my number 1. So number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and 6 is last, and that goes in through the slot. And there's our hat box.
Helen Sullivan is down in Rosslare watching the.
Isn't it well for you? The weather nice down there.
It's lovely down there. And I see Miranda's on there from Australia. So Miranda, we'd love if you shared this in Aussie land.
The paper I just need there, Leah, in a second. So what I just have here then is the smaller bulb bowl, okay? And I have that filled with about 2/3, you can see, of a block of foam. And that just sits down into the hat box. But again, it moves around a little bit. So just get paper, newspaper will do, and make yourself what I would call kind of a sausagey sort of shape, okay? And I'll hold this up now in a second. I'm just placing the rolled up paper, rolled up newspaper. This is just the craft paper that we use here at the school for wrapping up bunches and that, okay? So there we have our bulb bowl. You see the way it's set down inside the hat box and it stops it moving. Because that's a problem people have with the bigger hat box. You know, that way, like the dishes keep moving around. And as I said, I could have used one of the bigger bulb bowls, but the smaller one is fine and there's enough oasis in it. And you don't want it to be too heavy. These boxes come with handles on them, but they don't come with a lid on them. But I have done tutorials where I've showed you using hat boxes with lids. And again, I haven't used Charlie's hat boxes, but his could be plastic lined. So some hat boxes you buy have plastic lining on the inside of them, so it means you don't have to use the bulb bowl. Again, if he's watching, he might be able to comment and he can let us know.
Does Charlie deliver to the UK? I have messaged
Haven't
him.
a clue.
Don't know.
So Charlie, let us know.
Yeah.
Drop him an email. That's probably the handiest.
Sue Wales says the shelves are looking very colourful and are very colour coordinated.
That's just at the moment. That's just
Mr. K was here and he's a bit OCD.
He's very OCD, he is. So what I have is some foliage here, and you can use foliage out of your own garden. Sachet foliage, I suppose. Eucalyptus you could use, Pittosporum, again, any type of foliage out of your own garden. So I'm just going to get a couple of strands of it, okay? And stand a little bit in the center, like nothing fantastic, nothing drastic, okay? And then we're going to cut a couple of strands of it, and I'm going to place it around the edge of the hat box, basically. So just kind of cut your pieces on an angle, take off any leaf that's kind of like near the end, and I'm just going around to the edge of the box and just placing a couple of pieces in on a slant. This has a nice strong woody stem, so it's going in nice and easy. But if you have eucalyptus or Pittosporum out of your own garden, it will be fine. Now just watch this time of the year with your own garden foliage, and it could depend on what part of the country you're in, and it could depend on the weather, the season, and how often you're cutting it back. But at the moment, a lot of the Irish greenery, okay, is shooting. It's kind of like shooting season. So there's a lot of new growth at the top of it. So what you'll find is when you go out to your garden and you see the new growth, you probably say to yourself, just that's gorgeous, and you want to use some of it. We call it, there's no sap in the foliage. Now, Sue Whale will be able to give us a lot more information on that. So she might type up something and put it in the comments there below, because she's the expert on conditioning and growing and knowing all about flowers and plants. And if Irish Green Guys is watching again, they could give us a little bit more information on it. But way to describe it, that there's no sap in the foliage, it's the new growth, and where it looks gorgeous on the tree, but when you bring it in, the top of it just like, you know what I mean, looks like you could do with a bit of Viagra, it flops over, it's no good, it's not standing up straight. We shouldn't have really said that online. If there's any kids watching there, put them out to play there, put them on the Xbox. So I'm just working around the edge of the hat box, sticking a few of them pieces in there. You can just see how casual that is. That'll help to kind of camouflage the brown paper that I placed around it. And then just randomly, here and there, I'm just going to place in a few more. So I'm trying not to make this arrangement kind of too, I don't mean professional, but like too commercial. I want to kind of make it that anybody that's working at home will be able to copy this themselves, no problem. Now this one is kind of going to keep it a little bit more casual. And there I am throwing the stuff on the floor and the bin is beside me. So what have I
Can't
got?
break a bad habit.
Absolutely, very hard to break a bad habit. And I know some of my students. Okay, I have a mixture of a little bit of everything here. Okay, and my book is behind me. But I have a little bit of this large.
I'm gonna have to get you, Jeanette, to move over. You're just too far over.
I'm too far over.
Yeah,
Just
come on,
there we go.
yeah.
Okay.
Just maybe, Leah, will you just take that off the table for now? Yeah.
Grand. So what I'm going to do is a little bit of the larkspur, which will make this kind of like real garden looking. Do you know what I mean? So just stand a little bit in the center. We'll cut a few more of them, and we'll just kind of place it here on a slant. I'm not going to be kind of casual, or I am going to be casual about this. I'm not going to do the 3 around the number 1. I'm just going to add in a couple of little bits. So again, maybe people in their own garden, they have something kind of grown, and again, you could just like go out and pick it and stick it randomly into this arrangement. Now I am using a turntable, as you can see, and we have these here for sale at the school. If anybody wants a turntable, they do make life a little bit easier for you. And if there's anybody in your family and it's a birthday or an anniversary or an occasion coming up, it's a great present to get them. Do you know that way? Another great present to get them is Sue Wales books. I'm sure she put the link in the comments there below for us. Again, I've shown the books numerous times here during the live. And for anybody that wants to know about treatment of flowers, they're absolutely brilliant. And a couple of lilies. Now, these are different to the lilies that I showed you earlier on. So you can see these lilies have 3 heads on them, or a couple of buds as well. So these will come under what we call 3 heads plus. And I'm going to use 2 stems, because you know the way people say, oh, it has to be uneven numbers. I like to piss people off, okay? So there we go. We're going for 2 stems, just to, because that person annoyed me, and I'm only messing. But you know what I mean? You can do whatever you want. And for anybody, like at the end of the day, how would you know how many stems is in that? When there's loads of little heads like that, you get away with murder. And for any of you go to a supermarket and you're buying a mixed bunch, you can't say, Mr. Little, can we have 3 stems? There's only 2 stems in the bunch. And Jeanette said it has to be 3. You can do whatever you want.
Margaret said that their sunflowers are going to mental health. So Margaret, please get in touch that we can send out more information or let people know more about that when they're in flower and whatever they're doing.
Absolutely.
Is the turntable better than a Lazy Susan?
Same thing, more or less.
Yeah.
I think the turntable is a bit taller.
Yeah, where Lazy Susan on that table would be very hard.
Yeah, but then this table is exceptionally low, you know that way. It depends on, you know, I mean, suit yourself. You could be real small, and then you could be a little bit taller.
It's working to your own spec, really.
Exactly, working what suits you. I have a couple of gerbers here, or Germanies. So again, for the moment, I put in 2 stocks. I'm kind of mad tempted to put in 3, you know that way. But for the moment, I'm just going to leave it as the 2. So I'm going to put like a Germany flower, just looking over that side there. And I'm going to put a Germany over the other side. Again, I'm trying not to make the triangle, you know the way. I'm trying not to kind of be particular about it. That you could do this as a mixed bunch, you know what I mean? I might put a 3rd one over here in a minute. We also have a couple of, I know, this is what happens. I have a couple of Star of Bethlehem. And we call these chin cherries, you know that way, but they're a fabulous little flower as well, and they will open up beautiful. So they're only very small, so I'm just going to put a couple of them through the arrangement, and I'm going to allow a few of them to come up a little bit higher, just over the display. Now, the great thing about using the bulb bowl, do you remember I started off, and hopefully if you didn't, if you joined us later, you have to go back to the beginning where I kind of like prepared the container. But with the bulb bowl is it holds a lot of water, and it also holds quite a lot of foam, do you know that way? So if you're using them at home yourself, it just kind of like, it means, like, so, say for some of your flowers, like the stock doesn't last as long in foam as it would in a vase of water. But if you give it plenty of water, do you know the way? And it means that bulb bowl is so big, you can fill it right up to the top. Now just watch it doesn't overflow, because the cardboard box, like our hand-tied box, or not hand-tied box, what's called hat box, is only made of cardboard.
Alan wants to know, can you ship the turntables to the UK? Postage very expensive on them.
That's it, you know, because they're so heavy they are. You'd be nearly better. See, could you source one over in the UK? So we could, but I think it costs €25 to send it. And she'd nearly probably buy one for that price, you know that way. So it just would work out too expensive.
Brenda says that the turntable is better, in her opinion, with the Lazy Susan. It's a bit hard, and when you have stuff trailing down on an arrangement.
Yeah, or I find kind of like, no, the Lazy Susan is quite wide on top.
Yeah, but it's not high off the table.
Not high off the table, yeah. So we have our Scabothea. Scabby balls is not the right name for them, okay? So don't call them that. They do look a bit scabby, don't they? They're lovely, they are. And then obviously you can get, this is like the seed part of it, right? So again, couple of these, again, I'm just randomly cutting them. And again, I'm going to let them stick out a little bit over it. You know, that way, I kind of want this like a wide garden, okay? And because the hat box is kind of quite neutral, being kind of like grey, you can kind of get away with murder, do you know that way? Because you're not kind of toning it in with any particular colour. So we're putting a few scabby balls, scabosia, okay, is the right name. A few of them in and out through it, just for a little bit of texture. And I see one more scabby ball on the table, and we'll add that in as well. They will be beautiful in your wedding work. Seriously, obviously don't mention that name. And in your wedding hand-tied bouquet, for a little bit of texture, they're just fabulous. And I think kind of maybe for a bride that's kind of going for, I'm kind of saying a beige or a kind of a, not gold, but you know, what would you call it, taupe?
Yeah, taupe or dusty,
Yeah, and you know, again, it's one of them colours that you kind of blend in and you can more or less do whatever you want. And I knew Deirdre says, oh, she'll add in that other Germany because I just kind of feel it needs another Germany over here. But I want to put something else in for another little bit of texture.
Well, that Carmen Nolan says that she is short, so the Lazy Susan works for her. So this is finding out. Mary O'Hagan says she used her cake turntable. Great.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great. To ask her, is she making any cakes?
Mona Hindman says she'll definitely remember the name of them.
This is it, sure. That's always the way, isn't it? You'll just be like kids, you know, that way when you teach them the wrong name, they'll always remember it. I remember.
Lisa says, she always says it's a beautiful flower with a not so nice name.
I remember my son, David, and he was learning Irish in school. And the school he went to, like, Irish wouldn't have, you know, the way in some schools Irish is real, you know, they're very serious and they're very dedicated, but they weren't as dedicated in his school. So I know we have a lot of like UK students here and you won't really get this, but the Irish ones will know, or the people who learned Irish in school. You know that sentence, on will? We all remember the sentence, on will, Carrigum, Dullamock, Moshe, the Holly, right? So you know how you spell will was B-H-F-U-I-L, on will, B-H-F-U-I-L. So every time David came to that word, he'd struggle, you know, the way, and he was trying to spell it phonetically, and obviously it was spelled will rather than B-H-F-U-I-L. So I said to David, I says, Tinky or Willie, you know, the way, on will, Tinky or Willie. And straight away, and you'd see him and he'd be reading the book at home, or, you know, he'd be practicing his Irish reading, and he'd come along and he'd nearly look down at himself, he'd nearly put his hand and he'd go, oh, and you'd see him go, will, on will, Willie, on will. And like, that's the thing. And I used to teach him them things, you know, like, I used to use word association, and even with the students, Philonopsis, Philomena, Stephanotis, Stephanie, Germany, or Gerbera, Gerritsbra. We had all these sayings in school, and when they were learning the names, you know, the way with the online, we didn't go into it because sometimes people could be offended. It was great when they were here at school, you could say what we like. I suppose we are online at the moment, and we still don't give a shite what we say.
Sherry Anderson wants to know, can you spray paint the scabby balls with floral paint?
I don't know. What do you think, Sue? I'd say they would. If you use the Oasis spray paint, because that is specifically for spraying fresh flowers.
Our numbers have just dropped by about 20. So
I think this could do it a bit more stock.
We need more people to share.
We need a bit more people to share. Okay, anybody that's watching there, what about the giveaway, Deirdre?
Okay, so anyone that shares on Facebook, I definitely think we'll give 2 away on Facebook.
Okay, so 2. And what's the question going to be? Are you just going to?
Oh no, just anyone that shares. That's all. We don't.
Okay, so click share and say the word share in the comments that you've shared, and then Deirdre is going to pick just 2 people on Facebook, somebody on Instagram, somebody on YouTube, and we're just going to give away the Hatbox online training course. So I'm just adding, I just think the colour of these is nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is nice.
And seeing we have them, do you know that way? And is this going up to the receptionist? We better make it nice because my husband's looking to be on the cancellation. And your husband as well, isn't he? Yeah. We want to get the husbands done as well. So if we go up to your one there, we could give one to the nurse. No, the receptionist, we look after her because she'll be the one that'll have to call.
Absolutely. I think she just watch sometimes.
Sandra, are you watching?
Fiona O'Shea, Case Clare School Irish Lessons Live. Where else would you get it?
Absolutely.
Tricia, I would not look at on Will in the same eyes again. I'll drop the eyes down.
Michael Jackson. There you go. You see, you learn anything on these classes. I think I nearly have enough in that, Deirdre. What do you think?
Yeah.
So there's our little wild garden hat box arrangement. Where's the other handle? I got another handle. The other handle's gone into the box.
No, it's on there. It's on the side.
Yeah. So there's our wild garden hat box arrangement. Somebody's going to ask me how many flowers did I put into it. Rewind the video and count them yourself because I haven't got a clue.